Now, each time I say to myself, I don't want to speak on Nigeria's issue as a global citizen, then some event suddenly creeps up. So there was a recent court judgment on July 15, 2026 by the Nigerian Supreme Court regarding the Arabic inscription on the Nigerian Army emblem, as you can see in the picture. The readings of this script reads, Nasrun min Allah, which when translated means, from what I gathered, victory is from Allah. And it is the official motto of the Nigerian Army. Well, I proceeded to research the Nigerian Navy motto, found out it reads in English, onward for God and country. Then check the Nigerian Air Force, which also reads wisdom, bravery, and eloquence. And all other security paramilitary forces have theirs as well stated in English. Now, in fairness to the Nigerian Army, it adopted the Nasrun min Allah from a Quranic verse, and this dates back to the colonial West African Frontier Force days. And the phrase came from the Sokoto Caliphate banner used by Shehu Osman Dan Fodio. However, Frederick Lugard, who became the first commander of the West African Frontier Force 1897 to 1899, adopted Arabic because it was the only widely written indigenous language at the time, especially among Hausa traders. However, General Edger, who was tasked to create a new logo when Nigeria was about to gain independence, just copied and pasted the Arabic words in the new logo he was tasked to create without understanding how it will impact on the new country. So the British introduced it, and for sensitivity, considering the current state of Nigeria at the moment, please permit me to use tribal affiliations. A Southern Orobo Christian general from the Niger Delta reincorporated it, and you can find it in the general's own testimony on page 16 of his own autobiography, Reminiscences, first published January 1, 1989, where the general stated, and I quote, as I searched, I remembered the battle between the British and the Sokoto forces in 1903. At that battle, the Sokoto forces had carried the Sultan's flag with an Arabic inscription on it. End of quote. Now, here's a twist. In recent times, there has been uproars regarding nationalized teams. So the question is, did the general at the time understand the impact of his work would have on the Nigerian people after he was gone? I very much doubt so. Allow me to even say this. I have consistently seen many cases of laws enacted in Nigeria where the proponents of these laws are either Christians, traditionalists, or other religious faiths who fail to read meanings into national teams before approving them when saddled with such tasks. Recently, Captain Ibrahim Traore, Burkina Faso's president, questioned why nearly 800 Burkinabe students in Saudi Arabia are exclusively studying Sharia and Islamic law instead of vocational, scientific, or technical fields that directly contribute to the country's development. He spoke vehemently against this in a nationwide broadcast, like national broadcast. And he even went on to point out that as a Muslim himself, he vowed that Sharia law will never be implemented in Burkina Faso and emphasized that no religion supersedes national interest. In fact, in some claims, he even suggested that the students should never return to Burkina Faso, although some official reports and transcripts clarify that he specifically called on the state to review its overseas scholarship programs to prioritize acquiring technological and vocational knowledge to help build the country. Now, that is a leader and a country building a nation. Whereas in our case, in almost all areas, we prioritize religion over and above nationhood and state. Yet we call ourselves a secular state. We pray for infrastructure to the feast, forgetting that that is an aspect we are meant to get to work. In every and anything we call God to do the job for, fitting our own path. Well, that sounds like a lazy nation to me. And please, before you jump on here to banter that I'm an atheist, please, I'm a very proud, devoted Christian. And it's time we call a spade a spade. As a country, personally, I think a referendum is needed in Nigeria to determine what we want to become as a nation. Otherwise, we shall keep seeing court cases of this nature, which would lead to more unanswered questions while we continue to build more religious centers than industries. And then corruption and anyhowness skyrockets above and beyond. Without nationhood, no religion shall thrive. However, With God, all things are possible. But to those who believe, and believing means you and I need to get to work and work off our butts to do our own parts. Well, let me know what you think in the comment section. See you on the next one.